Mr. Johnson,
Hi,
we meet again
again.
in person
Yes.
this time. Okay, excellent,
The
excellent.
pleasure is mine.
Oh man, thank you, thank you, thank you. So you are, of course, the president of the Real Estate Association of
Definitely.
Jamaica,
That's correct.
and we have spoken before, but I don't want people to assume that they have seen, or I don't want to assume that people have seen us speak before. So if you would, could you briefly introduce yourself?
I'm Newton Jonson, the president of the Realtors Association. This is my second tenure as the president. So we have been doing a lot of things, a lot of good things in terms of the industry itself. We're sensitizing people in terms of what is happening. There's a lot of investors who want to come on board, but they don't know how to maneuver. So that is what we're opening the forum for them to come in and realize the true potential of real estate. And also they're the first time home buyers that they don't know how to maneuver through the industry. So that is a platform that we're setting for them so that they can understand. And then there's a regular Joe who want to understand how to maneuver, what the industry itself has to offer for a lot of people. I mean, even in terms of the AI technology, a lot of people don't know where that is going. So that is what we're looking at, the carbon footprint, right, in terms of where it is going. Cement company is one of our, so they will now tell us how the type of building they'll be doing. There are developers who are doing like the green technology. That is here also. They will explain to you how good it is for the environment, the carbon footprint, where we need to be going, right? There's property management. There's so much development that is going on here now. So they need to know, even in terms of the developers, in terms of where to go, for the property manager, how to maneuver in that space, because there's a lot of new ways and new technology on the upcoming. So they need to know what it is that they're looking for when they're choosing a property manager, because property management is one of the key components for investors, because they add value to that investment. Because if the property is run down, the value of that investment goes down. So there's a lot to offer here, a lot.
And from what we've been hearing in the previous panel, there's a lot of people who are investing in properties and won't necessarily be here on the ground. And so what you're saying about a property manager and the importance of them, it can't be overstated. And can you just go into a little bit of detail about what that specific job title would do? And I'm talking about really, I would say if I'm like a small to mid-tier investor that's looking maybe somewhere between 10 to 50 units, why is it important to have that person?
No, because as I said before, it's your investment and you need to protect your investment. You need to know, because real estate is one of the safest investments you'll ever have. But if you don't take care of it, you'll lose that value easily. You're not going to lose so much, but you'll not gain as much as you can. To maximize your gain, you need proper property managers.
And I would think it also takes a headache off of you as well.
Exactly, because for those people who don't live here,
right,
you need somebody to oversee the property to ensure that on a timely basis, the schedules are kept. Because there's a schedule in terms of property management. There's always a schedule to check if the electricity, the wiring, if that is okay, the water, whatever it is, even the property itself, to ensure that it is cleaned properly, right? Because that within itself add value. Even if you decide to rent it or resell, the staging of that property speaks volume.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a peace of mind in a big way.
And you know, I heard the minister speaking. I don't think he went into it deeply, as I think we had that discussion already, in terms of the stability of the country. For investors, overseas investors, they are looking to the country and say, yeah, the country is stable. When you look at the inflation rate, it is trending down, and that speaks volume in terms of where they're going to be investing their money. They're looking for that stability. They're looking at the interest rate, so within itself, those things add to the value.
And with what another thing the senator was talking about, Senator Auburn Hill, he's specifically speaking about affordable housing and how much is being invested and pushed in that direction. And one of the key things he said was that you in the room and everybody in that room, they can get the lawyers, they can get the representation, and they understand how this process works. Generalizing, of course. But perhaps the average Jamaican doesn't. And he was just talking about like how much the government is focused on essentially elevating the quality of life through real estate for the average Jamaican. What does that mean to you as the president of the Real Estate Association
Well, I
of
can
Jamaica?
tell you, for our membership, a lot of these development, we don't partake, but we channel our clients, our prospective clients, into that direction because we are not paid. Whatever NHT comes out with, we don't get a commission from it. But nonetheless, we steer the people who need it because there's a need. When you're coming out with anything 10 to 15 million, that's a sweet spot. A sweet spot for those people who really can't afford it.
Yeah.
It is a sweet spot, right? So what we do, we channel people who come to us to say, listen, there's this development, government is doing this development, a Gore, whatever it is, they're doing this development within that price range. So 10 to 15 million, 10, 13, 15 million, it's really remarkable. And in terms of even the sale back as starter units, that's a great, because if you look back at even Portmore, when they came out with Portmore and the quad, a lot of people bought into it because they say, yeah, this is a starter unit, this is mine. I claim it as mine. And a lot of people, if you go for Portmore now and some people show you what used to be a quad, you'll be amazed what the people have done with it over time. They take their time, they buy another bedroom, they go upstairs, and they just build out from it. So a 10 million will give you a basic unit, but it is yours. You have claimed it, and that create, in terms of the generational wealth, that forms a part of that generational wealth.
I think it's a fabulous program.
It is.
And then one thing I didn't know that he was also explaining was the buyback program, and he was giving the example that you start in, maybe this is your starter home,
Yeah.
and it's you and your significant other, but you have a child and you need something bigger, and they will buy it back directly from you. You don't have to go through anything, and they take that off you.
It's a great program. Honestly, it is a great program. We're just waiting on the implementation. Because I say, we don't get commission from those projects. We encourage a lot of developers. Listen, there's a market, because a lot of developers come to us and say, listen, what should we be building? Right? But again, you have to look at the point from the developer. They're there to make money, right? So we try and steer them and say, listen, you can't make money within that, because NHT will buy back, the government will buy back some of these projects, right? So we encourage the developers, because I said before, they come to us for advice and we give them that advice. And sometimes, most of the time, we will sell them the land. That is where we'll make the money. But in terms of the resale of these units, we're not making any money off it.
And what aspects of the real estate industry in Jamaica are you most excited about?
The commercial.
Okay.
Yeah, commercial, I think, because there's a great demand. There's so much people who are coming into Jamaica for a business entity. And the commercial, there's a great demand for commercial. Yes, there's a demand for residential within a certain price range. That demand way exceed what the supply is. But commercial, you have a lot of people looking warehouse spaces. It is just not there, right? So that is why the commercial aspect of real estate now, it's booming, and there's a great demand for that.
And as you stated, like there's great demand for commercial real estate, but it seems like we're not meeting that demand. Is there a way, do you have in your head, like how we can perhaps help meet the supply needs of the commercial real estate?
Well, I think you have to go back to the developers, because when you look at the developers now, a lot of them were in tune in terms of building these multi-story residential, right? That part of the market has slowed down in terms of the sale. That has slowed down. So now we have to channel those developers, and I think it is incumbent, and we have been doing it for members of the RAJ to guide our developers towards that aspect of the business. And we have been doing that, and a lot of developers now are coming on board. If you look, there's quite a number of new complexes going down for commercial.
I see.
Because there's a market, even in the with respect to the BPOs, there's a great demand for that, the BPO space. And a lot of these BPO companies, they'll rent for 3, 4, 5 years, because they know the contract that they have might extend for 10 years. So they test the market, and some of them even pay in advance. They'll pay 2, 3 years, whoever it is. And there's a program now where these people looking for these type of commercial entity, and it has not been built, and they will say, listen, this is what I want. And the developer will build to suit. And they'll get like that 2, 3, 4, 5 years rental income before it is built.
Oh, wow.
right? So it's a win-win situation for the developers. So we, as practitioners, we have been pushing the developers to go into that commercial space.
And you just stated that there has been a slowdown in a certain aspect of the residential
Yeah.
part of the market. Do you know why that is?
I think one of the thing is that there is no there's a saturation to some extent. There is a saturation, right? So in terms of why, because I think the developers, you see some of the developers will listen to us and we advise them accordingly. Some they don't, they just say, yeah, there's a win-win situation in terms of how much money they can make. Because that is what they're looking for, the profitability of each project. So a lot of them not looking at the market itself, not doing a comprehensive analysis, just went ahead and build, not consulting with us. Because the consultation process is a key component, right?
And is that saturation unique to a certain part of the island, or do you think it's
Right across.
Right across.
Right across
That's
the
interesting.
island. It is.
Interesting.
Right, but we still, I mean, one of the issues that we have to look at is that a lot of the developers will come on, and I've said it before, they have come on and they might have 40 odd units, and the first time they push it out, even before it's completed, they'll get a good uptake, and then after that it goes south, and that is the time they come back to us as realtors, real practitioners, because we have been we know the market. We have a list of people who are looking at whatever price point it is. So most of the time we can pick, choose and refuse in terms of who we can introduce that project to. So the developers will come initially and say, no, we're all right. And then when everything goes stale on them, then they'll come to us. But we are okay with that. We don't have an issue with that. Right? We allow them because at the end of the day, at the initial part of it, they don't have to pay us a commission. But they realize that without that, we are professional.
Right.
We know the market. Right? We have most realtors have a log where we do the CRM, and we have a log of people who are looking properties within a certain price range, so we can pull from it easily.
And so what would be the process for potential developers to reach out to you? And, you know, they have this idea that they want to either do a building or this type of development, yada, yada, yada. But what would be the first step as you're advising? Obviously, before you buy the land, before you put, you know, shovels in the ground, they should speak to you.
Yeah, and that has been happening.
How do they go about doing that?
Well, they reach out to us. We have that type of relationship.
Okay.
We and the developers have that type of relationship.
Well, what if I'm like, I've never invested in Jamaica before in my life. I'm living in New York.
We have that type of relationship.
So we would just go to the RAJ website?
They're individual, not necessarily RAJ, but our members.
Your members.
Yeah,
I
members.
apologize. Okay, I understand now.
So the members, they'll reach out to the members, and the members would guide them through the process, tell them exactly what the market is. Because primarily we are a marketing agent, right? So we can tell them what the market is looking for, and we guide them along that process, even up to the finishes. Because a lot of developers will just do a arbitrary. They're on the higher end, and they'll just do an arbitrary finish. And we have to go in and say, no, you can't do that. If you're doing something upscale, luxury, this is what is expected, right? And there are some inferior things they'll just put it in because, just to get it finished,
right,
and get the certificate of completion, they'll just do that. But we have to go back and say, no, people are looking, and aesthetically, it might not be pleasing.
Right.
So you need something that is pleasing to the eye, and the people will want to gravitate towards that. They're not going to say, boy, if I buy this place, I'm going to have to go back and change the faucet. I'm going to have to change the floor.
Right.
So initially, we are consulted on where that is concerned.
I think that's solid advice, because you're going to save so much money on your investments. Definitely. And perhaps not have to worry about the headache of replacement cost and everything.
And the thing, and that is it. You don't have to go back in and change these things. So, and from the onset, you're adding value to whatever it is you're buying in terms of the real estate properties.
Excellent. Do you have any either a last message or a word of advice for anybody who's considering investing in real estate in Jamaica?
I would say the best time to buy real estate is yesterday, right? So buy. I mean, you can't lose. It's the safest form of investment. And I'm coming from an investment background, and I can tell you, it is always good. It's one of the safest investments, and you will always see growth in your investment. So buy now. Don't wait to buy.
Great advice. You heard it here first. Our guest today has been Mr. Newton Jonson, the president of the RAJ. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.